That's it. Easy. Leasehold, possession with a determinable end. Okay, so this is mostly what you see in rental agreements. Leaseholds are like leasing a car, basically, to continue that car analogy, right? You don't own the car, but you have the right to drive it around, right? And you pay monthly payments in order to keep driving it around. When you power the car, when the lease ends, you return the car, okay? And it's a convenient thing. And that's exactly what happens when people rent, right? They're paying rent monies, they're getting to stay in the property, okay? So leasehold properties are created by lease or rental agreement. In Hawaii, um, we are unique because we do have leasehold properties and fee simple properties coexisting. Um, in the United States, that does not exist. There are only fee simple properties, and when a lot of people come here to do their real estate business, they are often freaked out by the fact that we have this dual system here. But we do have leasehold properties. Kamehameha Schools is a very large owner of leasehold properties throughout the islands. I myself actually purchased a lease from them about 5 years ago. So we now own our property in fee simple title, but we had to purchase the lease from Kamehameha Schools. Apologize for that. Okay, so look. Ooh, check that out. Let's do that again. Okay, so look back at the definition, focus on it. Now, what we're going to do is actually show you only the relevant things that you need to know. So we're going to make it disappear. There we go. Ooh, how's that? That's cool. Okay, so really, this is what you need to know. These three right here. Okay, so actually, what we're going to do is reorganize this once again. Okay, there we go. We're going to move it to the top, and we're going to call this now allodial. Okay, so I mentioned before a feudal to allodial. What we did was we transferred systems in the Mahele, right? We went from a feudal system to an allodial system. So now you know exactly what an allodial system is, okay? An allodial system is this type of ownership where you have fee simple, life estate, and leasehold types of ownership, okay? And now you know all the different levels of these properties, okay? Actually, just to sort of give you a little bit more depth of information, there are multiple categories of fee simple ownership, multiple categories of life estate ownership, multiple categories of leasehold ownership, which we're not going to go into. They get very complicated. And frankly, for this discussion of the Mahele, they're kind of unnecessary. But that's our allodial system. And really, if you want to kind of look at it as an equation, right, it's fee simple, life estate, and leasehold make up our allodial system. Okay, so we're going to reorg again. Here we go. So we have fee simple and our allodial system. So 1846 slash 1848. Apologize for I keep doing that, but the Mahele transitioned Hawaii from a feudal to an allodial system. Okay, this is very important. And the reason why I have two dates up there will become obvious, but when you read literature and when you engage in discussions, most people attach the date 1848 to the Mahele. When they think of Mahele, they think of this date here, 1848. Okay, although literally the Mahele began in 1846, actually December of 1845, and then 1846. So why 1848? Okay, the reason 1848 is always associated with the Mahele is actually the date that the king did his division from the rest of the dominion, from the kings, from the Konohikis, and from the Maka'ainana. Okay, and that'll all sort of come into perspective a little later. So let's recap and look at these two definitions because we're going from feudal to allodial. Feudal feudal means a lord above you, right? It's a conditional reward, dependent, not inheritable, which means you can't pass it on to your sons and daughters, and it can be lost. Okay, and look, and remember our term kalai'aina, right? When Kalanio Pu'u and Kivala'o and Keuaku Ahu'ula, right? Every time a new ali'i went from one ruler to another, they did a kalai'aina. They redistributed lands. They took the lands and distributed them out, which is kind of like dividing borders and boundaries. Okay, and the key to the term here, feudal, is a lord above you, a lord, a master, an alii, someone of higher rank, an emperor, whatever you want to call it, right? You, whatever your position is, say you're a Makainana, always have somebody above you, right? So if you're living on the land, you always have someone above you. You're subservient to someone, and it's always conditional. In a feudal system, usually that condition to owning property, or actually I shouldn't even say owning property, living on property, is taxes and military service. Okay, so in order to stay on the land, you have to give taxes back and you have to serve in the military. That's what kind of defines a feudal system. So this is what Hawaii was in pre-contact times. At the time that Kamehameha unified the islands, it was a feudal system. Okay, so it moved into an allodial system, and this is huge, and this is really, really major, which means no lord above you, nobody above you. You are independent, and this is absolutely inheritable. It's absolute, and it can be fortified. Okay, so it's complete ownership. So Hawaii went actually in the opposite direction of Europe. Okay, so nobody can really say that Europe influenced Hawaii to that degree, because earlier on, way before this period of time in Hawaiian history, most European nations that existed at that time, however they looked at that period of time, went from allodial to feudal. And then they ended up going back, but we went from feudal to allodial. Okay, so here's a question for you guys. Which is superior, feudal or allodial? Which is superior or holds more rights, a feudal system or a allodial system? Think about the bundle of rights in your hand, and think about, if you were a Maka'ainana and you owned land or lived on the land, which system allowed you more rights? Okay, give you guys a few more seconds, and I'm going to pop it on the screen, or just press pause and then press play when you want to get the answer. But the answer is allodial, okay, because you have nobody above you. You're independent and you own it. Okay, feudal, it's conditional, right here, conditional. Allodial is not conditional. Okay, so let's move on in kind of a timeline now that we understand those systems. Okay, so we have the BCQLT, the Board of Commissioners to Quiet Land Titles. So this is the commission, and this is the institution, so to speak, that's going to affect the change, and that's really going to push the Mahele forward, okay, and make it happen. Okay, so there are several very, very important things that you need to remember, and one of the most important things you need to remember is that the Mahele is going to be beneficial to everybody in the Hawaiian Kingdom, in the Hawaiian Dominion, from the king to the ali'is to the konohikis, and especially the tenants or the Maka'ainana. Okay, it's going to be it's going to be beneficial to everybody, because for the first time, it's going to allow everyone the right to own property in fee simple, absolute ownership. And for the Maka'ainana, this is going to be a first. Okay, it's going to give the Maka'ainana a chance to own land. So this huge commission was set up to accomplish this task. So let's look at the facts. It was based primarily off the 1840 Constitution. The Board of Commissioners to Quiet Land Titles began in 1845, adopted all their rules in 1846, and was supposed to have run from February 1846 to March 1855. They consisted of 5 members, okay, and initially ran for 2 years, but was repeatedly extended